Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. And let's just say we are halfway through the month of March. Now, it's been an eventful week, if I'm being honest with you. If we're going to talk about anything, I think I want to talk about parenting and my parenting style. And to be quite honest with you, I'm more of like a type A personality, and I like to see things executed and I like to see the results and I like to see goals, and I'm solution oriented, and I'm pretty much, I can be lax when necessary, but I am a little intense, and that's okay. I've learned to dial it back a little bit when necessary because again, I don't want to over compensate when it comes to my children. And it leads me to the point of parenting requires detachment. And I'll never forget when I first recorded an episode here on the podcast called The Relationship Paradigm Shift. I'm going to kind of tie in some of those old points, which are still very relevant today, into what I noticed with my daughter's birthday party. I want to say she did such an amazing job in her planning and execution and her friends showing up. Like, I haven't thrown her a party since she was in elementary school. And so to help her throw a party and she's in high school, it's like OMG, if the kids still say that. But it's very much a oh my gosh moment, because what do you mean my high schooler also invited other high schoolers to a party and they had to RSVP to get on the list, and they showed up with gifts. And I know, leading up to her party there was some nerves because again, she is very much a good friend. She's very friendly, she's very social, she's very bubbly. But when people weren't RSVPing, I said, you know what? I didn't SWOT analysis this party with her, but if I would SWOT analysis this party with myself, I would say next time, because I did help her put together the flyer in Canva, I would say next time, instead of us saying RSVP, let's just say text to let us know so you can be on the list by this date. Because even the day before the party, we still were getting people getting counted on the list. Even the day of the party, people wanted to be counted in on the list. And a good amount of people showed up. If I had to say, maybe she invited um 10 people, 8 people showed up on time. Like, that's incredible. Uh she still ended up with a total of like 10 people. I think she invited 12 people. 8 people showed up on time, and give or take, she ended up in total having like 12 people. And it was boys and girls, and it was a really good time. And she even allowed me to do a speech, y'all. And it goes back to a video I made on TikTok where I said I went to drop off cupcakes to her school the day before her birthday on March 7th. That was a Friday. I go to drop off the cupcakes. As I'm leaving, because I saw her mingling with her friends, so I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to go. I said, okay, girlie, I'm getting ready to go. And she's like, wait. And she came and she gave me a hug and a kiss. And when she came and gave me that hug and a kiss, a few of her friends were like, oh, but I had made a video on TikTok to say, it lets me know that I will continue to always love her out loud. And because I've loved her out loud for so long, she has no problems loving me out loud in front of her friends. And I'll never forget, as you grow up a child, because I like to detach myself from what social constructs and norms that people like to put on us. For example, y'all know I teach racial disparities in healthcare over on YouTube and TikTok. And I wrote a book called Nevertheless She Breastfed Despite Cultural and Racial Disparities. And one of the things I remember when I was pregnant with that little girl 15 years ago in my womb, and I said, I'm going to breastfeed. I'm just a 22-year-old pregnant. I don't know what breastfeeding is. I didn't come from breastfeeding. My mom didn't breastfeed me. But it was said to me, you're not going to want to breastfeed because you're selfish, or you're not going to want to breastfeed because you're young and you want to live your life. You don't want to be bound by no baby. And I breastfed that girl till she was 3.5. I have over 11 years of breastfeeding experience because I did breastfeed my children extended. I gave them extended breastfeeding time, more than the average of what is required in America. So even with that being said, I typically like to separate myself from the social norms. And I remember as she was coming up into turning 10, 11, and you would hear people say, oh, watch out for those teen years. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to be us, because guess what? I know how to check myself and put myself in a position, plus therapy too, right? But checking myself, checking my moods, my feelings. I'll never forget when she started to, want to be able to hang out with her friends and go out on dates and things like that, movie dates with her friends. I'm there, I'm close by. And I remember my mom saying, how do you feel about that? And I said, I don't. Because the thing is, if I put my own fears and my own bias on the situation, how can I allow her the opportunity to live her life? Again, decent parenting, even parenting, requires some form of detachment. I have to allow her to live out her life experiences in order for her to grow. And so her doing this whole thing with the party allowed me to see that. And we're in full planning mode for the Sweet 16. We are. She's been planning it since she was 14. So, I think the execution of how she was effective to reach her goal of throwing her party has now overly motivated her, or given her that intrinsic motivation, that motivation from within, for her to be able to plan this 16th birthday party. Even my son, he's in full planning mode for his 11th birthday, and she's helping him do that, and I'm able to see them work together. I also had got a coupon. We were at Bath and Body Works just before her birthday. We were doing a couple of little birthday prep things, getting some things. And funny enough, I called their names and I'm like, where y'all at? And the cashier was like, oh, they're right there. She said, they're just like best friends. And I said, yeah, because parents are responsible for the relationships that siblings have. And she said, I never thought about that. She said, because a lot of times you see siblings in here and they're like so mean and so nasty to each other. And I say, no, because I work really hard to let them know that they are each other's first best friend. And she was like, good job for you, mom. And I don't share these little nuggets with people because I need them to affirm that I'm doing a good job. But I share these little nuggets with people because I've come to the realization of I'm going to teach wherever I go. Right? I wasn't able to secure a teaching job earlier this year. And to be quite honest with you, I've made my own way in teaching. People have purchased the professional development certificate to say, hey, they took 12 weeks of racial disparities in healthcare with me. I'm the subject matter expert. Am I the subject matter expert in being a parent? No, but I'm the subject matter expert in what is required to be an effective human, because I have done the work to be an effective human in society. So I don't know, I don't have the end all be all in raising a teenager, but things that I've come to see, because now I'm the first time mom to a 15-year-old, first time mom to a 10-year-old, and a 10-year-old girl, and a 15-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy. And if we're being honest, what might work for my 15-year-old girl may not work for your 15-year-old son. And what might work for my 10-year-old son may not work for your 10-year-old daughter. But all in all, there's tools that are created to help you. It's not a one size fit all. I can just tell you the things that I've done. But again, if you are not the type of parent that thinks sometimes your parenting is not okay, what I got to say might not work for you. Because it was a therapist that had my head spinning on wheels when I said, I'm just so frustrated where I am in my parenting journey. And she said, maybe you need to check your parenting style. And we looked at some parenting styles and she gave me some tools. And when I started to put those in action and be a different parent to each child, again, because if you try to be the same parent to each child, then that creates sibling resentment. We never thought about that. And so these are the tools that I have received and they have worked for me. And I'm like, because this black girl has something to say, I can share it with you. And to the point of detaching, as a parent, children have to grow into being adults. She's a young adult now. She's learning what she wants out of her friends. She's learning how she wants to be a friend. She's learning that who you practice to be every day is who you will become, right? Because it's a skill. If you want to be a leader, you have to practice being a leader. I've done the things and given her the tools necessary to feel confident, to be confident, to not conform to maybe doing what other people might not be, what other people might be doing that you might not feel comfortable with doing. We have the open-ended communication. I even had to learn that sometimes when she communicates things to me, she's going to let me know if she wants my opinion on it or if she just wants me to listen. Because not everything has, while everything is a teachable moment, not every moment has to be a teachable moment. Everything is a teachable moment because I'm always learning and I'm a lifelong teacher, but not every moment needs to have a teachable moment in it. Anywho, we had a good weekend. Her party was amazing. We went to brunch the next day. She did her birthday pictures. Kudos to her auntie, who's an amazing photographer. I'll tag her information in the description of this episode. If you are local to the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach area, she is an amazing photographer. But with that being said, going forward, we just have such an amazing time to go. Like, honestly, I could tell y'all all the things that's not going right, but I would rather just focus on all the things that's going right and be in a space of how good can it get? Because it don't feel too good right now, so it can't go nowhere but to get good, if I'm being honest with you. So with that being said, if something resonated with you in this episode, share it with at least one person. Remember, you can tune into Black Girl Say Something every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, we have a video podcast episode over on our YouTube. Over on our Patreon. There is a drop there. It's a small monetary fee. So if you want to see that episode, you would have to pay for it. But to subscribe to our Patreon, you can just click the link to subscribe. It is free. Interact with the links in the description of this episode. I've created a new landing page as an extension to my business. So it's get to know me even more, because I know I have so many different talents and things that I do. So I just kind of wanted to have that in one central place. So there'll be the link where you can interact with that. Follow us on TikTok, like us on Facebook. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube. We're back going live over on YouTube. I want to, continue and do that at least weekly. But I did do a Let's Catch Up video to kind of let you all know, hey, this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been up to, because I know like there's been a little shift in the content. So I'm always appreciative of the listens, the comments, the likes, and the messages. And I'll also add another link. We are in a space where we're accepting guests, and we'll see, what modality works, like what way works for you, for us to host the podcast guest episode. So thank you for listening. And remember, tune into Black Girl Say Something, because this Black girl has something to say.